For the first time in 6 years, the World Baseball Classic is back. The first thing to know is that this is baseball's answer to the FIFA World Cup. After that, well, there's a lot to know. For starters, this year's tournament, which was originally slated for 2021, but was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, is quite literally bigger than it's ever been. Only 16 countries were represented in the first 4 World Baseball Classics in 2006, 2009, 2013, and 2017. For 2023, the field has grown to 20 countries. 3 of the participants are newcomers, so Great Britain, the Czech Republic, and Nicaragua deserve props simply on those merits. The other 17 clubs are what you might call the usual suspects, headlined by the World Baseball Classic's 3 previous champions: Japan in 2006 and 2009, the Dominican Republic in 2013, and Team USA in 2017. As for how this tournament will work, which are the teams to beat, and who are the players to watch, and naturally who will be crowned champion in the end, tune in and find out. Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of TXN Sports World. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting perhaps the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. World Baseball Classic returns, and here's the format and the rules. The tournament will begin with 5 teams in 4 different pools, A, B, C, and D, wherein round robin, double elimination tournaments will decide who moves on. Within each pool, all 5 teams will play each other once. The teams with the 2 best records will advance to the next round. There's also a relegation system in play. The top 4 teams in each pool will automatically earn a spot in the next World Baseball Classic, while the team at the bottom will have to play in a qualifying tournament in order to earn its spot. If 2 teams have the same record at the end of pool play, whoever won the head-to-head game between them will advance. If more than 2 teams have the same record, the following tiebreakers kick in. Lowest quotient of runs allowed divided by the number of defensive outs recorded by in games between the tied teams. Lowest quotient of earned runs allowed divided by the number of defensive outs recorded in games between the tied teams. Highest batting average in games between the tied teams, and drawing of lots. The 8 teams that survive pool play will slot into a single elimination bracket. Win and it's on to the next round. Lose and it's over. One major difference between Major League Baseball and the World Baseball Classic in 2023 is that the new regulations adopted by the former won't be used in the latter. That means no pitch timer, no regulations on defensive shifts, and no bigger bases. Otherwise, these rules apply. MLB-style replay review, automatic runner on second base in extra innings, 3-batter minimum for pitchers, universal designated hitter, and no limitations on mound visits. There are limitations on pitcher usage, including pitch counts for each of the rounds. The cap is 65 pitches in pool play, followed by 80 in the quarterfinals and 95 in the championship round. There are also mercy rules in play for the first round of the tournament. If a team is up 15 or more runs after the 5th inning, or 10 or more runs after the 7th inning, that team will be declared the winner then and there. So with that, let's now get into our picks. And we're going to start it off with Pool A. And those games will be played in Taichung, Taiwan. And the following teams are in Pool A: Cuba, Italy, the Netherlands, Panama, and Taiwan. To me, this is the weakest of the 4 pools, but don't tell that to the Netherlands. They'll have Xander Bogaerts in the middle of their lineup, and he'll be flanked by Jonathan Schoop, Jurickson Provar, Andrelton Simmons, Didi Gregorius, and Vladimir Valentian, who hit a record 60 home runs in Japan in 2013. Netherlands also has a few pitchers with major league experience, including ace closer Kenley Jansen. Though it's notable that they won't have stars like Yordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu, Randy Arozarena, or either Gurriel brother. Cuba is the next best team in Pool A. Chicago White Sox teammates Yoan Moncada and Luis Robert Jr. will anchor the lineup alongside noted legends Yoenis Cespedes and Alfredo Despain, who holds the WBC record with 7 home runs. Further, whatever leads Cuba gets, don't figure to be easy to reclaim. In their bullpen are Yariel Rodriguez, Raydel Martinez, and Levon Moinello, who allowed a combined total of 9 earned runs over 163 innings in Japan last year. For its part, Italy has a decent-looking lineup headed by Vinny Pasquantino, David Fletcher, Nicky Lopez, and Milwaukee Brewers prospect Sal Frelick, who MLB.com rates as a 70-grade hitter. Panama is probably stronger on the mound, where they'll have Jaime Barea, Justin Lawrence, and Javi Guerra. Taiwan, meanwhile, is the sleeper pick for Pool A. Fans of MLB will recognize the names of infielders Yu Chang and Zhu Wei Lin. Otherwise, catcher Kung Kwan Gil-Gigala, second baseman Li Lin, center fielder Shea Xian Shen have played starring roles in the Chinese Professional Baseball League. My prediction for Pool A, I got to go with the Netherlands, and I got to go with Cuba. So with that, good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. We got Michael Bullock with us. We just started Bullock, so nothing to fret about. So MF, you heard the teams for Pool A. I have the Netherlands and Cuba coming out of that. What says you?
I think Netherlands is definitely a safe pick because of the fact that they made it to the semifinals in the last World Baseball Classic in 2017, eventually losing to the team that ended up being the runners-up, Puerto Rico, at Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium in LA. So, I mean, yeah, I think they could definitely make another run at this. I think they'll definitely be a good team. As far as the second team goes, yeah, I think Cuba has a legit shot. I think with the weapons that they got, I think they could definitely make a run. But the one team I would say who's my dark horse would be Italy. I really feel like the Italians are going to do something really special. They already got an upset victory already in this tournament, knocking off Cuba. So, I mean, if there is a third team that could sneak into that second spot, I think it's going to be Italy. But your safe bet is the ones that you got right there when we're talking about Netherlands and Cuba coming out of Group A, or Pool A, I should say. So, Michael Bullock, welcome to the crew. Like we said, we just started off with the World Baseball Classic, so we're in Pool A, and that's all we got.
All right, great to be here, guys. As far as when it comes to Pool A of this World Baseball Classic, I'm with you guys. I mean, I got the Netherlands and Cuba coming out of Pool A. I mean, take a look at what Cuba is definitely made of. I mean, with their team, and you can also say the same with the Netherlands. So Netherlands and Cuba, to me, are going to be the teams that come out of Pool A of the World Baseball Classic. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, MF, you'll be leading off on Pool B. The teams as follows, and these games will be played in Tokyo, Japan, Australia, China, Japan, South Korea, and the Czech Republic. Pick me a couple of winners, MF.
Obviously, you got to go with Japan first. Japan is without a doubt the most dominant team. They got Shohei Ohtani. He's going to be the star of this crew, and there is some really good talent coming out of Japan. They were no slouches when they won the inaugural World Baseball Classic. Then they did it again 4 years later, won it 3 years later when they won it a second time around. And every time out, they've always been a major threat. Japan has been, relatively speaking, one of the best teams in the world, and no doubt about it. And I truly believe that they could definitely win this year's World Baseball Classic with Ohtani, with a whole bunch of their guys. So I got them winning Pool B. Now, as far as the second team, this is a toss-up. I think it could be either Czech Republic or uh, Australia. I like the Czechs. I think they're a really good squad. I think they got some good weapons here. So for me, the pool B is going to be Japan and the Czech Republic coming out. So those are my two teams. Michael Bolick, it's yours.
Oh yeah, definitely. When it comes to Pool B, I mean, obviously the easy first choice is Japan. Japan. I mean, they got themselves a good team. I mean, especially led by Shohei Ohtani. I mean, you know he's going to lead the way, whether it's hitting or with pitching. I mean, you know he's going to lead the way for Team Japan. And as far as that second team, I mean, it's a toss up. I mean, to me, I'm going to give the slight edge to the Czech Republic here. So yeah, that's who I got coming out of Pool B. So it's yours, Florio.
As if having the home turf wasn't enough of an advantage for Japan in Pool B, it also helps to have Shohei Ohtani, who will not have any restrictions while he's away from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Ohtani will line up his arm alongside those of Yu Darvish, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Roki Sasaki. He of 19 strikeout perfect game fame, and his bat alongside those of major leaguers Masataka Yoshida and Lars Nootbaar, and noted sluggers Hotaka Yamakawa, Kazuma Okamoto, and Munetaka Murakami, who is fresh off a record-breaking 56 homer season. The other big bat in Pool B to keep an eye on, guys, is South Korea. Though not so much because of major leaguers like Ha Seong Kim and Tommy Edman. Indeed, the real stars on their roster are slugging legends like Jiang Choi and Byung-ho Park, and up-and-comers such as first baseman Baeko Kang, second baseman Hee Seong Kim, center fielder Jung-hoo Lee, and ace closer Woo Suk Go, who pitched to a 1.48 ERA with 80 strikeouts over 60 and two-thirds innings in Korea last season. Australia, the Czech Republic, and China otherwise comprise arguably, in my opinion, the three weakest teams in the entire tournament. Though the Czech Republic does have some Cinderella energy after its unlikely survival in last year's WBC qualifiers. So this is an agree to disagree. I agree with you guys in Japan, absolutely. They're the favorites. But as far as my second winner, I got to go with South Korea. So I got Japan and South Korea coming out of Pool B. So with that, we move on. Pool C. And Michael Bullock, you started off. Teams, these games will be played in Phoenix, Arizona. You would have to imagine it's got to be Chase Field.
It is Chase Field.
And Tokyo, Japan's got to be the Tokyo Dome, I'm sure.
That is correct, yes.
I figured as much. Okay. All right, Bullock, here we go. Pool C. Teams are as follows. Canada, Colombia, Mexico, the defending champions, Team USA, and Great Britain. Pick me a couple winners.
All right. For my first team, coming out of that of Pool C, I mean, you got to go. To me, I got to go with Team USA. I mean, you got Nolan Arenado on that team. You got Mookie Betts on that team. I mean, yeah. I mean, you got some really good players that are going to be on that team, and you know they want to repeat as the champs. So I got USA coming out of that. And what are the other teams along with the US, Florio?
Canada, Colombia, Mexico, Great Britain.
Oh man, that's a tough one there. I mean, but to me, I'm gonna go with Canada with this one. So I got the US and Canada coming out of it. So Florio, who's coming out of the Pool C when it comes to this World Baseball Classic?
Well, I'll tell you, Bullock, the United States does have at least one concern, as Clayton Kershaw's recent withdrawal further diminished the squad's starting pitching depth around Adam Wainwright. The squad will also be without Nestor Cortez. It's a good thing, then, that the USA has a host of ace relievers highlighted Devin Williams and Ryan Presley, and that the offense is absolutely stacked. It boasts 3 former MVPs in Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and Paul Goldschmidt, as well as other established superstars like Nolan Arenado, Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, Pete Alonso, and Tim Anderson. Perhaps equal to the task of shutting down the USA's offense will be Mexico's pitching staff. It features a nasty foursome of starters in Julio Urias, Taijuan Walker, Patrick Sandoval, and Jose Urquidy. The offense is less star-studded, but Randy Arozarena, Rowdy Tellez, Alex Verdugo, and Isaac Paredes make for a solid core. Canada will have Freddie Freeman anchoring its lineup, with Tyler O'Neill, Abraham Toro, and Bo Naylor, and Cal Quantrill Smarts and Matt Brash's electric stuff are assets on the pitching side of things. For its part, Colombia lost its best pitcher when Jose Quintana bowed out this past Sunday due to tightness in his left side, but they'll still have Gio Urshela, Harold Ramirez, Oscar Mercado, and Oakland Athletics prospect Jordan Diaz in their lineup. This pretty much makes Great Britain the underdog of the pool, yet they'll have some hope if Trace Thompson and Seattle Mariners prospect Harry, not Harrison Ford, bring their best. Another agree to disagree when it comes to Bullock here. I definitely agree with you on Team USA, but my second pick, I got to go with Mexico. I got Team USA and Mexico coming out of Pool C. So, MF, Pool C, who you got?
Yeah, this is obviously you got to go with Team USA because of the offense. That offensive team, I mean, that's an all-star team. When you're talking about the offense, they got weapons beyond belief. And then, yeah, the biggest worry I do have is the pitching. That is one area that I'm a little concerned about. But as far as the second team goes, yeah, I'm going to say Mexico. I think Mexico is going to get out of there. They got a very good lineup, and it's going to look very good. So I really got nothing more to say. So Mexico, and yeah, Anthony, final group.
You ready for the group of death, MF?
Oh, yeah.
Here it is. These games will be in Miami, Florida, Marlins Park, the Dominican Republic, Israel, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. Welcome to the group of death for this year's World Baseball Classic, wherein the Dominican Republic in particular looks like a veritable Grim Reaper. Sandy Alcantara and Christian Javier are arguably the best 1-2 pitching punch in the entire tournament. And then there's what New York Mets right-hander Chris Bassett alluded to as the best lineup ever. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did have to withdraw with a knee injury last Saturday. But still, you got Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Julio Rodriguez, Rafael Devers, Wander Franco, and Willie Adames. As for who in Pool D could take down such a mighty team, Venezuela at least has the offense for the task. In addition to a fully healthy Ronald Acuna Jr., it'll also have Jose Altuve, Luis Arias, Eugenio Suarez, Gleyber Torres, Andres Jimenez, and the legendary Miguel Cabrera. Puerto Rico, meanwhile, will not have Carlos Correa, but will have Francisco Lindor and Javier Baez up the middle and excellent pitchers to bookend games. Marcus Stroman, formerly of Team USA, and Jose Barrios to start, and brothers Edwin and Alexis Diaz to close. Israel and Nicaragua have their work cut out for them in surviving this pool, but neither is entirely without merits. Israel has Jock Peterson and Chicago Cubs prospect Matt Mervis to carry its offense, while the latter has Jonathan Loaiziga, Erasmo Ramirez, and Brewers prospect Carlos Rodriguez to support a strong pitching staff. My two teams for Pool D, the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. All right, MF, group of death. Let's go.
The obvious two, Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has been in the WBC, has always been a threat every single time out. They've been in the finals. They were in the finals in 2017. They're looking to win it all. Dominican Republic, from top to bottom, the most complete squad in the WBC, and more importantly, the odds-on favorite to win the tournament. They are the team that everybody is picking to win it all. Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic are my two teams. I believe they will be advancing. So, Michael Bullock, it is yours.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. It's the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, and I mean, yeah, the Dominican Republic they are absolutely loaded, and you said and Fletch, you said Dominican Republic is the odds-on favorite.
They are the odds-on favorite. Vegas and practically almost every prognosticator in baseball has the DR winning it all.
Well, I'm gonna go a step further. Not only do I think the Dominican Republic is gonna come out of it, I think they're gonna win the whole thing. I mean, I'm sure the other teams that are gonna come out of their respective pools will probably give them some fits, but the Dominican Republic, they are the complete team. I mean, you look at the names on there, including my guy Rafael Devers, and oh man, I mean, like I said, not only is the Dominican Republic not only are they going to come out of this pool along with Puerto Rico, but I'm stating it right here, right now. They are going to win the whole WBC Classic. Book it. It's yours, Florio.
So, and I'm going to take a guess. So, well, obviously, Bullock's. We already know who Bullock's got going all the way. MF, do you concur with that?
As of right now, I have to say they are that they probably will be the winners. I think the only other team that could possibly give Dominican Republic trouble is actually Japan.
Yes.
I think Japan is actually really deep. Their pitching is really good. The only liability I think is, can they get enough hits? Can they get enough runs? Because that DR team is gonna be putting them by bunches, and that's the only thing that could maybe stop DR from winning the whole thing. The USA, I like their chances, but the problem is I got a bad feeling about the pitching. I think the pitching is the biggest liability for the Americans. Obviously, the other team I would say is Puerto Rico. But the thing is, Puerto Rico, I don't think they have a deep enough squad that can make a run. Even though they've made it to the finals twice in the WBC, but they've yet to win one of these tournaments. They were in the finals against Dominican Republic, lost. Went to the finals against the United States, lost. So, I mean, Puerto Rico's got a squad, but with the guys who pulled out of the tournament, those are too significant of a hit for them, and that's why I started to temper back Puerto Rico's chances, because going into it, I thought it was going to be a 2-horse race. I honestly thought it was going to be Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico battling it for the title. Now with that going out, I think honestly, it seems like it's a 3-horse race now. DR is definitely the favorites. Japan is right there, and then I would say Team USA is also a favorite as well. So Anthony, it's yours.
Okay. All right. So I'll tell you what. When it comes to my side of when it comes to how I have, for when we get to the bracket portion, the single elimination tournament, I have South Korea squaring off against the Netherlands, and I have South Korea winning that game. I have Cuba going up against Japan. I have Japan winning that game. Mexico against the Dominican Republic. I have Dominican Republic winning that game. And Puerto Rico versus USA. I got Puerto Rico. And then in the semifinals, I have the Dominican Republic defeating South Korea. And I have Japan knocking off Puerto Rico. So, MF, the two teams that you said, that's exactly who I had in the championship game. And let's say let's call a spade here, and let's say it does come down to these two. Holy smokes, would this be a good matchup? And one that's frankly overdue for the final of the World Baseball Classic, as these are arguably, without a doubt, the two most baseball-obsessed nations in the world. Getting down to brass tacks, Japan is yet another team whose offense would stand to be overmatched against that of the Dominican Republic. Some names I haven't even mentioned are Jeremy Pena, Rhode Island's own Jeremy Pena from the Houston
and
Astros,
also World Series MVP.
and ALCS MVP too.
Yep.
Along with Ketel Marte, Teoscar Hernandez, Eloy Jimenez, and Nelson Cruz. Rodney Linares, DR's manager, will also have them at his disposal. If it's a question of whether Japan has a hurler who could silence even a murderer's row of this magnitude, well, there is Shohei Ohtani. He was a better pitcher than he was a hitter last season, racking up a 2.33 ERA and almost 12 strikeouts per 9 innings at 11.9. And lest anyone doubt his ability to pitch under pressure, he's trafficked in closer-level dominance and high-leverage spots over the last 2 seasons. It is, of course, presumptuous to assume that Ohtani would take the ball for Japan. And even then, would even the best player in the world be enough to shut down what looks like the best team in the world? I think not. So I agree with you guys. I, too, have the Dominican Republic winning the 2023 World Baseball Classic. So with that, let's move on to the big trade that went down in the NFL this week. Derek Carr, he's got a new home. We all know how unhappy he was in Las Vegas. Well, now he's got a new home. Former Las Vegas Raiders quarterback Derek Carr has agreed to a 4-year contract with the New Orleans Saints, the team announced this past Monday. Financial terms were not disclosed, but sources told ESPN that Carr agreed to a deal that could potentially be worth up to $150 million and includes up to $100 million in guarantees. Carr will receive $60 million fully guaranteed at signing and another $10 million once he starts year 3 of the deal, the sources said. He will earn $60 million in the first 2 years of the deal. The Saints, who finished 7-10 last season, were among 3 teams, including the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers, to have pursued Derek Carr for several weeks. So MF, started off here with you. Derek Carr, a New Orleans Saint. How about it?
Yeah, and the biggest surprise about that deal was everybody's like, why did Derek Carr do that? Why did Derek Carr do that? Well, Derek Carr did it because of the fact that, the reason why Derek Carr did the trade was because New Orleans was really the only team that was willing to play ball. Every other team didn't really want to make that deal or whatever you want to say. So it was really Derek Carr basically saying, well, I'm going to make this deal. I'm going to make this happen. And he did. So, I mean, I'm happy for Derek. I think he deserves the opportunity. And he is going to be incredible. I think he'll be fine. And now that that NFC South and the way that the division is set it up, he might actually be the best quarterback in that division. Like, to really be honest, he might actually get the New Orleans Saints to the division title, believe it or not. And that's as crazy as it may sound, but he's also reuniting with his former coach, Bruce Allen. That's actually a great thing to have because the chemistry was really good. So for me, I think this was the most logical and perfect decision for him to do. So congratulations, Derek Carr. Welcome to New Orleans, and I can't wait to see what you do next season. So Michael Bullock is yours.
Bullock, are you there? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously we know the situation in Vegas. I mean, he was not happy, and obviously he felt like this was the time to move on, and the Raiders gave him his wish, and now he's got a new home in New Orleans, and hopefully now that New Orleans has a quarterback in Derek Carr, and especially now with the way that division has changed now that Tom Brady has retired, um, that division could be up for grabs, especially now New Orleans has a chance. I mean, they do have some other things they got to fix up, but this is definitely a big step in the right direction for this New Orleans Saints team. So, yeah, congratulations to Derek Carr, and the thing is, I mean, there are two people I feel bad for when it comes to the Raiders, and that's the coach Josh McDaniels, and and of course is now the guy who used to be his go-to guy, Devontae Adams. I mean, they both came to Vegas. I mean, thinking like with what we have, maybe we have a chance of getting back to the playoffs. But now McDaniels is going to have to inherit whoever the new quarterback is going to be. I mean, yeah. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So it's yours, Florio.
Derek Carr visited New Orleans and met with several members of the organization over 2 days in early February. He also met again with the team last week during the scouting combine. The Saints entered the offseason more than $50 million over the expected 2023 salary cap of $224.8 million, but now need about $18 million to become compliant after contract restructures for several players. The next question is, after Carr is what they'll do with wide receiver Michael Thomas, who restructured his contract earlier in the offseason to give both sides more flexibility ahead of free agency. He remains under contract at this time. Carr declined to waive a no-trade clause in his contract and was released by the Raiders on Valentine's Day, just before a deadline that would have guaranteed $40 million of his contract over the next 2 years. The release allowed him to immediately sign with any team instead of waiting until the official start of free agency. Last season, he finished with 3,522 passing yards, third lowest mark of his career, 24 touchdown passes, and 14 interceptions, tied for the most in a single season. A career low 60.8 completion percentage, and another career low 86.3 passer rating. And a small correction, MF, it's Dennis Allen, not Bruce Allen. That's the coach, Dennis Allen. Carr's history with Dennis Allen dates to 2014, when Allen was in his third season as coach of the then Oakland Raiders. Allen was involved with selecting Carr in the second round of the 2014 draft and made the decision to start him right away as a rookie. And then Allen was fired by the Raiders just 4 games into the 2014 season. But Carr remained with the team for 9 seasons, going 63, and he went 63 and 79 while completing almost 65% of his passes and throwing for 35,222 yards, 217 touchdowns, and 99 interceptions. Carr made the Pro Bowl 4 times and helped the Raiders make the playoffs in 2016 and 2021. Stepped away from the team for the final 2 games of last season after being benched in what was described as a quote-unquote mutual decision. The Saints made sense as a landing spot for Carr after they went into the offseason with an uncertain future at quarterback. Andy Dalton, who started 14 games for the Saints last season, will be a free agent. The Saints also have Jameis Winston under contract for 1 more year, but Carr's signing could facilitate his release. Winston is due $12.8 million in base salary in 2023 and started only 10 games over the last 2 seasons after winning the starting job from Taysom Hill in 2021. Releasing Winston would save the Saints $4.4 million against the salary cap, but New Orleans would take on $11.2 million in dead money. By designating his release as a post-June 1st transaction, the Saints would save $12.8 million. Winston tore an ACL 7 games into the 2021 season and spent the rest of the year on injured reserve. He signed a new deal in 2022 after the Saints failed to acquire Deshaun Watson. Winston fractured his back and injured a foot at the beginning of last season and was inactive in weeks 4 and 5 and never regained his starting job. The addition of Derek Carr should help improve an offense that dropped into the bottom half of the league in points and total yards after the retirement of Drew Brees before the 2021 season. So we wish Derek Carr the best in New Orleans, and we look forward to seeing him in a Saints uniform next season. So not much more to say on that. Let's move on now to our preview of Week 4 of the XFL, and just give me a moment here. I think this is, yeah, okay. All right. I don't have the full schematics, guys, but I will say this. I don't know who the announcers are going to be. I have not seen an announcer sheet for Week 4 yet. But I do have the matchups and I do have the spreads. So at least I have that. So with that, let's break it down. Double headers this weekend. It'll be a primetime double header. Saturday night at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. on FX Saturday night. The first 2 games, and then the other 2 games will be as part of an afternoon and evening doubleheader. Sunday at 4 and Sunday at 7, and both of those games will be on ESPN2. So let's start with our first game of the week. That will take place Saturday night at 7 p.m. over on FX. It will feature the best team in the league against the worst team in the league. The Houston Roughnecks squaring off against the Orlando Guardians from Camping World Stadium, formerly the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. Games on FX. Houston opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, we started off with you. I think we got our lock of the week right here. Houston, the best team, squaring off against the dud team in Orlando in the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about this one. Houston is, like you said, they are the odds-on favorite here. So it's obvious. I got to go with Houston to win this one very handily. So it is yours, Florio.
My team, the Houston Roughnecks. I mean, the first game to lead off of Week 4 is a rematch from Week 1 between the Houston Roughnecks and the Orlando Guardians. Houston dominated Orlando on both sides, winning 33-12. With the spread at 8.5, I can definitely see a similar result on Saturday night. Houston is coming into this week's game undefeated after they took down the San Antonio Brahmas 22-13 last Sunday night. Roughnecks quarterback Brandon Silvers had an interception but threw for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. Houston's defense did not have a monster performance, but it still got a turnover off San Antonio quarterback Jack Cohn. As for the Guardians, they had a chance to pick up their first win last week, but fell just short as quarterback Paxton Lynch threw a deep ball to wide receiver Charleston Rambo on 4th down, but he couldn't stay in bounds. Orlando also had 2 turnovers in the game, which led to points and extra possessions for Arlington. If the Guardians hope to pull off the upset, they must get after Silvers, which the Brahmas did last week with 2 sacks. However, it's tough to trust Orlando's offense to go shot for shot with the Roughnecks, who can put up points in bunches. Of course, I'm going to go with my team, the Houston Roughnecks. I mean, to me, this is the team that I believe is going to, that come May 13th, is going to walk away with the whole thing. So I'm already putting it out there. This is the team to beat. I don't give a damn what anybody says. And I think Wade Phillips is doing his personal best coaching job right here and now. Houston, easy win, lock of the week. I got Houston winning this thing going away, 27-11. Houston all over Orlando. So not much more to say here. MF, Houston and Orlando to lead off Week 4 of the XFL.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you guys. I'm with the Houston Roughnecks. I love what they've been bringing to the table. They're a really good team. You could even make an argument they might be the most complete team in the XFL right now. Everything they've done offensively, defensively, I think there's nothing that can stop them right now. So, yeah, I'll go with that too. Houston to win yet again. So, Anthony, next game.
All right. The other half of the Saturday night doubleheader on FX will feature the San Antonio Brahmas squaring off against the Seattle Sea Dragons from Lumen Field in Seattle. Seattle opening up as a 4.5-point favorite. The Sea Dragons picked up their first win on the road last week against the Vegas Vipers, thanks to a ridiculous 65-yard touchdown catch from Josh Gordon. Seattle will now return home to face a Brahmas team that might be 1-2, but will not make this game easy for the Sea Dragons. Seattle had its turnover issues in last week's win against Vegas, but overcame them, thanks to running back Morgan Ellison's play on the ground. He had 17 carries for 103 yards. And DiNucci making the right reads late in the game. Seattle has the skilled players on offense to score points and a Ron Zook-led defense that will keep it in games. The big question that remains is whether DiNucci can play a turnover-free game. The answer right now is no, based on his 8 turnovers through 3 games. The Brahmas passing game leaves much to be desired with Jack Cohn, but they've had 2 solid running backs in Jacques Patrick and Kalen Ballage, who can pick up yards and control. If the Sea Dragons don't have Ellison, San Antonio can keep the game close, as their secondary won't back down from the challenge of Gordon and Pearson. But at the end, I got to go with Seattle to win this game. I'm going to say Seattle wins. My final score, 22-18. Seattle over San Antonio. So, MF, your thoughts on San Antonio and Seattle, the second half of that Saturday night doubleheader?
I agree. I'm going with Seattle too. I kind of felt like they kind of turned the corner. They started to look a lot more better than they did the first time around. So I'm going to go with Seattle as well. I kind of feel like I said, I think they're on the verge of doing something really special here. So give me Seattle to win it, and Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I got to go with Seattle as well. I mean, like you said, I think that they're really starting to turn the corner, and I think they're going to come out of this week as winners of this game here. So Seattle wins. Next game, Florio.
And we move on to the Sunday doubleheader. The first game will be Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. over on ESPN2. And based on the records and whatnot, I consider this the default game of the week. The Arlington Renegades squaring off against the St. Louis Battlehawks from the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis. St. Louis opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. MF, what an atmosphere it's going to be at the Dome at America's Center, because these St. Louis football fans have waited 3 long years to see a game in this venue with the Battlehawks, and they're hosting Bob Stoops in Arlington. By default, the game of the week right here.
Game of the week, no doubt about it. You want to talk about excitement level. Yeah, you even said it, man. I think this is going to be absolutely insane how this is going to look. The crowd is going to be absolutely electric. And whenever you get these type of games, man, this is going to be something to behold. So, yeah, this is going to be special. This is going to be a big one. No doubt in my mind. Like you said, this has the makings of being the game of the week more than anything else. Look, to really be honest with you, this could go a number of ways, but at the end, I got to go with St. Louis. I just feel like, with everything going on, with everything on the line right now, they've been looking like one. Like I said, I think they could really, really, really do some damage here. They're gonna want to keep pace. They're gonna try to keep pace with the DC Defenders right now, because remember, the top 2 in each conference, in the North and the South, gets to go to the playoffs. So right now, they're holding one of the 2 spots. So I think St. Louis is going to get a big win. They're finally at home, and if you notice, Anthony, the lower bowl and the medium area are sold out already. They're selling at the top level, the 300 levels, and there's only a few seats left. There's a chance we could get a sellout for St. Louis. That is going to be massive for the XFL. So no doubt about it. Give me the Battlehawks to win it. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got to go with St. Louis as well. And the thing is, Fletch, I mean, with this being a sellout, because remember, the team a football team that previously was in St. Louis is now in Los Angeles.
Yes.
So you know that this fan base has been waiting for any kind of football to be back to be in St. Louis, and this is it.
Did you remember the last iteration of the XFL? How massive the numbers were for St. Louis? I mean,
they were big.
They were averaging easily over 25 to 30,000 per game. So you know that the St. Louis area has been thriving for a football squad. So for them to get the XFL this second time around, you know those fans are ready. They've been excited, and they're gonna show up and show out on Sunday, no doubt.
And like I said, especially since they're the NFL team they once had moved to St. Louis. I mean, not to St. Louis, to LA.
LA.
I mean, they haven't. I mean, and you know how upset they were. They're like, "Are we ever going to get some kind of football team in St. Louis again?" Well, they have it here when it comes to the XFL, and you know that St. Louis area is going to be pumped up. They're going to be excited about this. So, and the Redhawks are going to definitely take the home field advantage, and I think they're going to come out the victors in this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Oh, man. After suffering their first loss on the season, the Battlehawks will return to the Dome at America's Center for the first time since 2020, Sunday afternoon against the Arlington Renegades. This will be the best game of Week 4 as the St. Louis fans will show up and give the Battlehawks a much-needed home field advantage. St. Louis is coming off a tough loss against the DC Defenders, where they got beat in the trenches. But it was good to see the offense get started early and find a rhythm. The Battlehawks must get off to a good start on Sunday and take care of the football, as Arlington's defense has been a turnover machine. 8 takeaways this season. St. Louis quarterback A.J. McCarron had 3 turnovers in last week's loss, including a pick 6. Meanwhile, the Renegades offense is still neutral despite Kyle Sloter being under center. Arlington mustered 10 points, 178 total yards, and averaged 3.4 yards a play against the winless Orlando Guardians last week. The Renegades also don't have a consistent running game, which is great news for the Battlehawks defense. I'll take the Battlehawks as well as their offense to do just enough to keep the Renegades at bay. So I'm going with St. Louis as well. My final score, 21-15. St. Louis defeats Arlington. The final game of the week, Sunday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN2, features the Vegas Vipers squaring off against the DC Defenders, Audi Field in Washington, D.C. And I believe we go back to the top with Michael Bullock here. So Bullock, final pick of week number 4. DC, by the way, the DC Defenders are opening up as a 6-point favorite against the Vegas Vipers on Sunday night. So Bullock, final game of the week, Vegas and DC. Who you got?
Yeah, I think for this one here, I got the DC Defenders winning this one, and I think they'll definitely play a really good game here, and I think that they should be. I mean, Vegas will definitely give them some fits, but I just think in the end, yeah, I mean that's what I got coming out of this one here. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
In the last game of Week 4, we have a Week 2 rematch between the Vegas Vipers and DC Defenders. When these two teams faced off at Cashman Field in Vegas, DC won 18-6, fighting the elements and gashing Vegas's run defense for 229 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Vipers' run defense has been one of the worst in the league this season, allowing 151.6 yards a game. However, if they can't slow down the trio of Jordan Tiamu, De'Aaron King, and Abram Smith, it could be a long night for Vegas. It's not all bad for Vegas, as quarterback Brett Hundley brought a ton of excitement to the offense. Hundley pushed the ball down the field and was a threat in the running game. The former NFL quarterback needs to do the same thing this week because the Vipers cannot trust Rod Smith, John Lovett, or DeAndre Torrey on the ground. That being said, the Guardians were massive underdogs, and they actually covered last week with little to no offense. And there's no reason why Vegas can't do the same with Hundley under center. but I do have the DC Defenders winning this game as well. My final score, 27-22. The DC Defenders knock off the Vegas Vipers. And that will put the bow on our coverage of Week 4 of the XFL. We'll get into Week 5 next week. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to good old MF Michael Fletcher. MF, I know you wanted you requested for to have some time on this show to recap UFC 286, and in your immortal words, and as well as Gorilla Monsoons, I understand that history was made and we had an unprecedented crowning, did we not?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with UFC 286 going down this past week, from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this was actually it's 285, not 286. It was actually UFC 285, Anthony, which I believe you were looking for.
Got a little ahead of myself.
Yeah, that's okay. 286 is actually going to be next week. That's going to be on March. That's going to be on March 18th from the O2 Arena in London. But 285. So basically, what we had was, not so many big matches. You had Nickel winning his match by submission. Then we had Gromrat winning, and Sergey Ragamanovich winning his battle, which was in the middleweight division. But then it all turned because at the women's flyweight title fight, which is 125 pounds, this is where we saw an unprecedented crowning and history being made as literally the best woman in that 125, the one that was destroying the entire division, got upsetted. That's like Alex Grosso, or Alex Grasso, winning the title from Valentina Shevchenko, which shocked the entire world. Nobody saw this coming. Valentina was an overwhelming favorite going into this fight. And what happened was she tried to go for a back fist, got caught. Basically, Alex grabs her, basically puts the hooks in on her, giving her back, then was able to wrestle her to the ground, moved her body over where she got all the hooks in, arm under the throat, body locked in, and Valentina taps out to the rear naked choke, and by winning the title at 4 minutes and 34 seconds in the fourth round. And then in the main event, John Bones Jones versus Ciryl Gane, and John Jones winning the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world in the first round in 2 minutes and 4 seconds due to a guillotine choke. He got him. He wrestled him right to the ground, pinned him up against the cage, and then was able to put his arm underneath the throat. We didn't know if he had it locked in, but he kept squeezing, and Ciryl Gane basically tapped out to it. And some people thought, it was rigged, it was fake, there's no way. But when you saw the replay and you saw that arm under the throat, you're like, oh my God. No, he had every right to tap out or he was going to pass out. So John Bones Jones cementing his name as the greatest MMA fighter in the world. He is the GOAT, the greatest to ever do it. Better than Conor McGregor, better than George St. Pierre, better than Frank Mir, better than Ken Shamrock, better than any man who has ever set foot in the octagon. This is the greatest of all time, period. End of quotation, end of statement. I don't want anybody questioning this man ever again. A 2-division world champion. He was the greatest in the light heavyweight division at 205. Now he's in the heavyweight division, and he took out one of the best in the heavyweight division. And oh, by the way, he now, as confirmed, later this summer, he is going to go one-on-one, put the heavyweight title on the line against Stipe Miocic. I cannot believe this. I'm so excited. All the MMA nuts are losing their minds. I freaked out when I heard this. I'm ready. I am so ready for that heavyweight championship fight to go down. July cannot come soon enough because that's when this fight's going to go down. There's nothing more to say. Anthony, thank you for the time. It's back to you.
All right. That's very good, MF. Exciting news to say the very least. And I don't know what else there is to say except let's move on now to the main event of the evening, which is our preview of the college basketball conference tournaments. Let's just quickly set the table here. All right. Let's quickly set the table on what we have so far. Before we get into the big the heavy hitters, let's address because we already have teams that have qualified already for the NCAA tournament, starting with, and gentlemen, I love it when a school qualifies for the NCAA tournament for the first time ever in their school's history. We've got that. Kennesaw State out of the Atlantic Sun Conference, the Kennesaw State Owls, the winners of the Atlantic Sun tournament in the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. They're out of the Atlantic Sun. Representing the Big Sky, we have Montana State in the tournament for the second year in a row. They were in there last year as well. From the Big South, we have UNC Asheville for the first time since 2016. From the CAA, we have the College of Charleston going back to the NCAA tournament. First appearance for them since 2018. Out of the Horizon League, it was Northern Kentucky. First time since 2019 for them. Representing the Missouri Valley Conference, Drake, second time in 3 years. Their last appearance was 2 years ago in 2021. Out of the NEC, an interesting story here. Fairleigh Dickinson received the NEC's automatic bid before the conference tournament was even played because Merrimack, who actually won the conference tournament, is ineligible for the NCAA tournament due to a transition from Division II. Very interesting. But Fairleigh Dickinson, they get the nod from the NEC. 2019, their last appearance. Representing the Ohio Valley Conference, Southeast Missouri State for the first time since the year 2000. 2000 was the last time Southeast Missouri State went dancing. From the Patriot, Colgate, and I ain't talking about the toothpaste, bros. Colgate, second straight tournament appearance for them. They were in the tournament last year. And we had a drought snapped. The winners of the Southern Conference, Furman in the NCAA tournament, gentlemen, for the first time since 1980. 1980. None of us were even born the last time Furman was in the NCAA tournament. Can you imagine that? 1980. Their last tournament appearance. 43 years for Furman. Great story. From the Southland Conference, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, second straight appearance for them. From the Summit League, it's Oral Roberts. Their last appearance was 2021, second in 3 years for them. Out of the Sun Belt, it's Louisiana. First tournament appearance since 2014. And the WCC, the West Coast Conference, no big surprise, it's Gonzaga. Yet another tournament appearance for them. 25th tournament appearance for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So as of right now, 9, 11, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 tickets have been punched. We still have the America East, American, Atlantic 10, ACC, Big 12, Big East, Big 10, Big West, Conference USA, Ivy League, MAAC, MAC, MEAC, Mountain West, Pac-12, SEC, SWAC, and the WAC. So those automatic bids to be handed out. 32 automatic bids, 36 at large. And so we got 14 automatic bids handed out. We had 18 more automatic bids to hand out. And then, of course, the 36 at large bids that will comprise the 68 teams. And we will have our annual Selection Sunday special, first ever under the TXN Sports World banner, this Sunday night, 10:30, right here on the Tone 25. Mark it down. And also before we start, gentlemen, I'm also going to make a surprise big announcement, Tony. And I don't think this should come as a surprise to MF or Bullock or anybody who's been a loyal viewer of our show all these years. But I have brought back the bracket manager on CBS Sports. And of course it's under what else? TXN Sports World. So we will be doing that yet again this year. So just to put it out there for you guys and everybody out there. So so there you have it. So with that, let's get into the. Now we have we're going to save the American Conference for last because I believe their conference tournament just started tonight. So we'll go in chronological order here, and I believe it would actually start with the ACC because I believe their playing game started Tuesday night. So we're going to start with the ACC, which is of course MF's conference, and this tournament is all the games for the tournament will be held at the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. It started on Tuesday night with playing games. The championship game will be Saturday night at 8:30 on ESPN. And with that, let's break it on down. So far, Georgia Tech knocked off Florida State 61-60. Boston College over Louisville 80-62. Virginia Tech over Notre Dame 67-64 on Tuesday night. Last night in the second round, Wake Forest defeated Syracuse 77-74, ending one of the greatest college basketball careers of all time, Jim Boeheim. After 47 seasons, Jim Boeheim is calling it a career, and well-deserved. All the history he made with Syracuse, including that national championship 20 years ago, back in 2003 with Carmelo Anthony, when Syracuse knocked off Kansas in the Superdome that year. We have Pittsburgh over Georgia Tech 89-81. North Carolina, easy win over Boston College 85-61. And NC State with an easy win over Virginia Tech 97-77. Quarterfinal games that went down today. The game of the day, without a doubt, Miami against Wake Forest. Miami survived 74-72. Duke all over Pittsburgh 96-69. Miami and Duke in a semifinal tomorrow night. Virginia surviving North Carolina 68-59. And Clemson all over NC State 80-54. So we got all chalk in the semifinals. We got Miami versus Duke. Number 1 Miami against number 4 Duke. And number 2 Virginia against number 3 Clemson. Those two semifinals tomorrow night. One will be on ESPN. The other will be on ESPN2. And then Saturday night at 8:30 on ESPN will be the championship game from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro. It's very tough to call, honestly. It really is. I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to say Miami and Virginia come out of the semifinal games. and I'm going to take a chance and say Virginia walks away with the title. So I wouldn't be surprised if Miami were to win. So I see we lost Bullock. I don't know if he hit a wrong button or if he's calling it a night, but we'll see what happens. But for right now, I got to say Virginia based on the experience, but I wouldn't be surprised if Miami were to win it. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. MF, what a tournament you've had so far. I mean, I know that Miami and Wake Forest game took a lot out of you, but the other three, for the most part, you had a couple of duds in there. Decent game with Virginia and Carolina coming down to the wire, but you got all chalk. Miami and Duke, and Virginia and Clemson, two great semifinal matchups tomorrow night, and then the championship Saturday night. So, what a tournament you've had so far, huh?
Yeah, so far, a great tournament up to this point. I kind of am feeling the same way like you are. I kind of feel like right now, I kind of feel like Miami's gonna win it.
Meth, I don't know if you cut out or anything. Can't really hear you. I know you started to say something about Miami winning. So, I don't know. But Bullock?
I'll take it. I'll take it for a spin while we wait for MF. I mean, I don't know if there's something wrong on his end, but I'll give you my thoughts on it. I mean, oh yeah, we did lose him, so yeah. I mean, this has been a really good ACC tournament. I mean, we've seen some really good games here. I mean, a lot we expected, and I'm with you, Florio. I think it's going to come down to Miami and Virginia. I think they're going to be in the championship game come Saturday night. And as far as who wins it, I'm actually going with you, Florio. I think Virginia is going to come out and win the ACC tournament and get that at-large berth in the NCAA tournament. So I give it to you, Florio.
All right. I'm just looking over, the order here. So just bear with me for one moment here. All right. All right. Okay, we got MF back in. All right, MF, you got cut off there as you were giving your thoughts on the ACC tournament. So we'll open it up to you to finish your thought before you got your technical difficulty.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Basically, I was using my cell phone. My cell phone died. My battery died, folks. My bad. So thank God I have a backup. So just in case. No, but I was gonna say that I was gonna go with Miami to win the ACC tournament. I kind of feel like they've been the best team all season long. It's just they had like that one little bad performance, but I do believe they will bounce back and they'll win it. So I got Miami winning it all. Welcome back, Michael Bullock. It's yours.
Bullock already went. He went in your place.
All right.
Fixing your difficulties. So all right. So with that being said, I'm just checking the appropriate times here for everything. So next up, I think it's only fair that MF had his moment with the ACC. I think it's only fitting that Bullock and I have our turn with our conference, the Big East, and it started yesterday afternoon. Of course, Big East tournament. You know what that means? The world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, New York City. So three playing games yesterday. We had number 8 St. John's against number 9 Butler. St. John's won the game 76-63. And then we had in the lone upset of the tournament so far, number 10, DePaul, knocking off number 7, Seton Hall, 66-65. And then we had a vintage, old school Big East matchup, number 6, Villanova against number 11, Georgetown. Wasn't even close. Villanova, easy win over Georgetown, 80-48. Today, all 3 games have been very exciting, to say the very least. But the most exciting was number 1 seed Marquette against number 8 St. John's. Marquette survived in overtime, 72-70. And then number 4 UConn against number 5 Providence. UConn knocks off Providence, 73-66. And then number 2 seed Xavier survived a massive scare from DePaul. DePaul had Xavier down early, had him down big early. But then Xavier came all the way back and won the game, 89-84. And we have a game in progress right now, the final game of the quarterfinal round. The number 3 seed Creighton and the number 6 seed Villanova. 1:45 to go in regulation. Creighton with a sizable lead on Villanova, 79-66. 1:45 away, and it looks like we're going to have all chalk in the Big East because we got number 1 Marquette squaring off against number 4 UConn in the first semifinal tomorrow night, and then we'll have number 2 seed Xavier very most likely against number 3 seed Creighton. And then the championship game will also be on Saturday on Fox. It'll be around 6 o'clock or so. So you can tune into this game before the ACC championship on Saturday nights. So I believe I threw down all the schematics here. So MF, looking at the Big East, who you got coming out of it?
Man, this is going to be tough because when you talk about the Big East tournament, I mean, like you said, up to this point, it's been all chalk. And look, you know me. I like to see things shake up a little bit, but I just don't see how it's gonna. I mean, with everything that's been going on in this tournament, right out of the gate, I kind of feel like right now, there isn't really one team that really stands out, or I should say, there's not really one team that has really stood out. Creighton's looking pretty impressive so far up to this point. As far as the rest of the way goes, yeah, I'm with you. I kind of feel like I got to go with the top seed. Right now, I kind of feel like, whenever you go with these teams, it's never easy to call here. And I wish I had my bracket in front of me, but I don't. But I'll probably say I don't think it's going to be UConn. I think UConn got very fortunate and very lucky. I don't think they're going to win it. Honestly, I don't think Creighton either. So who's the top seed, Anthony? Who's the top 2?
Number 1 seed is Marquette. Number 2 seed is Xavier. Number 3 seed is Creighton. Number 4 seed.
First off, Creighton out, and I even say UConn out. I don't think they're going to make it. I guess I would say by default, I would go with Marquette. I think they would be the one to win it all. So for me, I would say Marquette. So Bullock, it's yours.
Our conference, Bullock, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, this has been something with these games in the Big East tournament. I mean, especially some good ones today where Marquette barely got past St. John's in overtime. And, yeah, unfortunately for Providence, let's just say these past few days have not been very good for the Friars. And like you said in the messenger, Fletch, I think it's more going to be NIT time for Providence, because they just really and to me, what really killed them, not just this game, but the game against Seton Hall, the last regular season game,
the last
on
2
senior
games.
night.
The last 2 games.
The game before that was
Xavier. That was a gut
but the
Seton
Seton
Hall. Yeah, that was
Hall
unacceptable.
one.
That was unacceptable. I'm sorry.
You lose that game to a lowly Seton Hall team
And
that,
badly.
and not only you lose to them,
They
you
got
lose to
blown out.
them. I'm sorry, but you don't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament after that. I mean, losing to Xavier is one thing, but losing big time to a team like Seton Hall, I'm sorry, you don't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. I know I'm sounding harsh, but look, after the abysmal performance this past week for Providence College, they don't deserve to go into the NCAA tournament. I'm just being brutally honest here. So, yeah, as far as who I think is going to win it all, it's got to be Marquette all the way. I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. It's yours, Florio.
I'm leaning towards Marquette myself, but watch out for Xavier and watch out for Creighton. Regardless of, I mean, if Marquette gets past UConn, regardless of whether it's Creighton or Xavier, Marquette's going to get tested big time. But I think Marquette's been pretty much the best team in the Big East this year, so I got to go with Marquette to win that. So with that, let's move on to the Pac-12 tournament that also started yesterday. The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, is where all these games are being played. And first round game started yesterday. Number 9 Colorado upsetting number 8 Washington 74-68. Number 5 Washington State over number 12 California 69-52. Number 10 Stanford upsetting number 7 Utah 73-62. And number 6 Arizona State over number 11 Oregon State 63-57. Today, the number 1 seed UCLA knocking off Colorado 80-69. Number 4 Oregon over number 5 Washington State 75-70. Number 2 Arizona defeating number 10 Stanford 95-84. We have a game in progress right now over on ESPN. The number 3 seed USC and the number 6 seed Arizona State. And about 5 minutes in, fellas, number 6 Arizona State with a 15-7 lead on USC early. So, but obviously, you know, there's still a long ways to go. But Arizona State with an early 8-point lead on USC in the early going. So with that, championship game will be like MF loves. We all know when it comes to college football, MF was a big fan of Pac-12 After Dark. Well, I think it's only fitting that the championship game will be Pac-12 After Dark, Saturday night, 10:30 on ESPN. First semifinal, you got number 1 UCLA squaring off against number 4 Oregon, and the USC Arizona State winner will meet the number 2 seed Arizona. I think it's I'm all right. So I think I got everything squared away. So Michael Bullock, come on in. We got number 1 UCLA and number 4 Oregon in the first semifinal. And then the USC Arizona State winner will square off against number 2 seed Arizona. So, Michael Bullock, Pac-12, who you got?
Well, let's just say so far, I mean, we've seen like some upsets in this Pac-12 tournament, and yeah, I'm interested to see what the semifinals is going to bring as we approach the championship game. But to me, as far as who I got going to the championship game, to me, it's got to be UCLA and Arizona. And as far as who I got winning it, I obviously got to go with the UCLA Bruins to win this and punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. So it's yours, Florio.
Not only that, but also punching their ticket to a number 1 seed as well. So they win this tournament. There is no doubt about it. They will be one of the 4 number 1 seeds come Sunday night. And we have a final in the Big East tournament. Creighton has defeated Villanova 87-74. So Creighton will meet Xavier in the other semifinal tomorrow night in MSG. So just wanted to get that out there. All right, getting back to this. I agree with Bullock. I think it's going to come down to UCLA and Arizona on Saturday night. And it's going to be a fantastic game, but I think UCLA will eke by Arizona to advance. And UCLA, I believe, will win the Pac-12 tournament, punch their ticket to yet another NCAA tournament, and also punch their ticket to another number one seed as well. So I got UCLA coming out of the Pac-12. So MF, who you got?
Yeah, I do believe it's going to be UCLA. I do believe they're going to win it all. If Arizona wins, they actually have an argument to say that they deserve a number one seed.
Certainly.
So I think if it comes down to Arizona versus UCLA, like we're predicting, I think the winner of that game gets the number one seed out of the West. So I mean, if Arizona wins it, I think they get the number one. If UCLA wins it, they get the number one. So there's going to be a lot of high stakes. If those two teams battle it out in the final on Pac-12 After Dark, like I said, on Saturday night, if that happens, T-Mobile Arena is going to have themselves quite a heavyweight championship fight on their hands, because the winner will not only win the Pac-12, but in all likelihood will most likely get the number one seed in the West for the NCAA tournament. But I do believe it will be UCLA when it's all said and done.
All right. So with that, we move on to our next tournament, which is the Big Ten tournament. These games will be played at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Started last night with two playing games. Number 13, Ohio State, upsetting number 12, Wisconsin, 65-57. And then another upset. Number 14, Minnesota, upsetting number 11, Nebraska, 78-75 last night. Today, number 9, Rutgers, upsets number 8, Michigan, 62-50. And those Cinderella Ohio State Buckeyes did it again. Number 13 seed, they upset number 5 seed Iowa, 73-69. And then another upset. Number 10 seed Penn State, upsetting number 7 Illinois, 79-76. But chalk finally prevailed as number 6 Maryland defeated number 14 Minnesota, 70-54. So quarterfinal action to take place tomorrow. All games will be on the Big Ten Network. Number 1 seed Purdue will meet number 9 seed Rutgers. Number 4 seed Michigan State will square off against number 13 Ohio State. Surprising number 2 seed Northwestern against number 10 seed Penn State. And then number 3 seed Indiana will meet number 6 seed Maryland. You know me, I got to go chalk here. I believe we'll see Purdue and Michigan State in one semifinal on Saturday. And by the way, the semifinals and the championship game, semifinals on Saturday afternoon on CBS, and the championship game Sunday afternoon, just before Selection Sunday. Just before the Selection Sunday special, that is, on CBS. So I got Purdue beating Rutgers. I got Michigan State beating Ohio State. I got Northwestern upending Penn State, and Indiana over Maryland. I think Purdue knocks off Michigan State to go to the title game. I'm going to take a chance on Northwestern to beat Indiana, but at the end, I got to go with Purdue. I believe Purdue has been the most consistent team in the Big Ten this year, and I think Purdue's going to walk away with the Big Ten championship. And if they do that, they have a legitimate argument to be a number 1 seed. And as of right now, I believe Mr. Lunardi has Purdue as a number 1 seed as of right now. So, and if they win this tournament, they will most certainly be a number 1 seed. So I'm going with Purdue to win the Big Ten. So MF, who you got in the Big Ten?
I agree. I think Purdue wins it all. They got the best player in the nation right now. I do believe that they'll win this tournament. If they don't win it, they lose their number 1 spot. You know, they're in the 1 line right now. If they lose this tournament, they're out at number 1. They will definitely drop to 2, because then you're going to have another team. Who's that other team? We'll get into them in just a minute. But yeah, I do believe that's going to happen. I got Purdue winning. Bullock, it's yours.
Who would you have coming out of the Big Ten?
Purdue.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got Purdue winning this one. I mean, with the way the way that team has been this season. I mean, I just think they're the team that I think is going to come out of the Big Ten tournament and come and get that automatic berth and obviously be the fight for maybe a number one seed. So we'll wait and see on that. So that being said, Florio, you already talked about it, didn't you?
Yes, I started it. So
all right, and let's not forget one more thing when it comes to this Big Ten tournament, especially the semifinals and finals. It's the last go around for Jim Nance.
For Jim Nance, yep.
yes, indeed.
Yeah, not just with this, but with the NCAA tournament.
Iron Eagle will be a successor. Iron Eagle will be a successor next year. So
I think we should just all sit back and appreciate. I mean, Jim Nance isn't going anywhere. He's still going to be doing the golf and the NFL.
Yes, and that's who that's who I take my game after when it comes to the NFL. So and a little bit of the college basketball as well, even though MF is the voice of it. But I'm the number two, so we all know that. So but yes, Jim Nance, absolutely. And no question about it. No question about it. We'll probably get a little more into that on our Selection Sunday special Sunday nights. So with that, let's move on to our next tournament. And I'm going by the rankings and the whole 9 yards. The ranked teams, that is. So flip of the coin. Even though they both started at the same time, I'm gonna give a slight nod to the Big 12 next. Big 12 tournament from the T-Mobile. These games we played at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri, on the ESPN family of networks. Games last night on ESPN University. We had number 8 West Virginia defeating number 9 Texas Tech 78-62, and number 7 Oklahoma State over number 10 Oklahoma 57-49. Today, number 1 seed Kansas defeating number 8 West Virginia 78-61. The upset of the tournament so far. We have 2 big upsets, but I think this one's a smidgen bigger because it's number 5 Iowa State upsetting number 4 seed Baylor 78-72. Number 2 Texas over number 7 Oklahoma State 60-47. And the other big upset of the night, number 6 TCU upsetting number 3 Kansas State 80-67. Semifinals tomorrow night. Number 1 seed Kansas against number 5 seed Iowa State, and number 2 seed Texas against number 6 seed TCU. Championship game Saturday night, 6 p.m. on ESPN before the ACC championship game over there. So with that, MF, we're down to Kansas and Iowa State in one semifinal, Texas and TCU in the other semifinal. Who ultimately comes out of the Phillips 66 Big 12 tournament in Kansas City?
Kansas. I think Kansas is going to win the tournament. And not only that, but they're fighting for a 1 seed right now. So I do believe that the defending national champions will figure out a way. The big problem they have is that Bill Self is sick, not feeling well, will not be in the Big 12 tournament. So I think they're going to take as much time that he need. They said it's non-COVID, so thank God for that. It's not COVID related, so he's that's the good news. But I do believe when it's all said and done, Kansas will win this. They'll knock off Texas in the final. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got Kansas winning this winning the Big 12 tournament. Not only, like you said, because they are fighting for a number 1 seed, but they're also fighting for their head coach Bill Self because, like you said, because of his illness, he's gonna miss out on the Big 12 tournament. So And hopefully, I mean, I think he should be back in time for whenever Kansas starts their NCAA tournament game. So Kansas wins. It's yours, Florio.
That'll either be next Thursday or next Friday, depending on where they are slated. We'll let you know that on Sunday night. But I agree, it's Kansas. I got Kansas versus Texas in the title game as well, and I got Kansas getting by Texas to win another Big 12 championship and wrap up presumably yet another number 1 seed for them. So Kansas comes out of the Big 12. 2 tournaments left. Next up is the SEC tournament. These games will be played at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. And playing games last night. These games on the SEC Network and ESPN. Let's see. Last night, number 13, just like in the Big Ten, we had 13 beating 12 and 14 beating 11. Number 13, Ole Miss, knocking off number 12, South Carolina, 67-61. And number 14, LSU, upsetting number 11, Georgia, 72-67. Today, number 9, Mississippi State, defeating number 8, Florida, 69-68 in overtime. Number 5, Tennessee, no trouble with number 13, Ole Miss, 70-55 winners. The upset of today, number 10, Arkansas, upsetting number 7, Auburn, 76-73. And number 6 seed, Vanderbilt, knocking off number 14, LSU, 77-68. Quarterfinal games tomorrow on ESPN and the SEC Network. Number 1, Alabama against number 9, Mississippi State. Number 4, Missouri against number 5, Tennessee. Number 2, Texas A&M against number 10, Arkansas. And number 3, Kentucky squaring off against number 6, Vanderbilt. So Michael Bullock, you heard the matchups. Who do you like ultimately to come out of the SEC tournament in Nashville?
I gotta go with Alabama here. I mean, what a season it's been for this Alabama team, and obviously they're also fighting for a number 1 seed when it comes to the NCAA tournament. So I'm going with Alabama. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, I got Alabama defeating Mississippi State. I'm gonna go with Tennessee to upset Missouri here. Set up Alabama and Tennessee in one semifinal. And then in the other semifinal, I'm going to say Texas A&M defeats Arkansas and Kentucky defeats Vanderbilt. So that would give me Alabama versus Tennessee. Got to give a slight nod to Bama. Texas A&M and Kentucky. I'm going to take a chance and call for Kentucky to upset Texas A&M. Kentucky came on strong at the end of the season, the regular season, that is. I think it comes down to Bama and Kentucky in the championship game on Sunday afternoon. But I got to go with Alabama. I mean, they did have a hiccup recently, but I think Alabama is still the most complete team in the SEC. So I'm going with Alabama to win the SEC and become a number 1 seed for the first time in school history. What a story that would be if this holds up. So I'm going with Alabama. MF, are you going to make it unanimous, or do you have somebody else?
No, and actually, you were absolutely right. That was the final I had, Kentucky and Alabama. And I actually do have Alabama winning the SEC. So no, you actually had the 2 teams correct with the way I had it set it up. So no, you were right. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
One final conference. MF informed us last night that this conference is a major conference, so we're going to go with it. The American Athletic Conference. Their tournament started just today. All games will be played at the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, on the ESPN family of networks. We had the play-in games today. Number 9, East Carolina, upsetting number 8, South Florida, 73-58. Number 7, UCF over number 10, SMU, 76-70. And number 6, Wichita State, defeating number 11, Tulsa, 81-63. One upset. Just one upset. The rest is chalk pretty much. Quarterfinal games to take place tomorrow. Number 1, not just any number 1, but the number 1 team in all the land as of right now, the Houston Cougars. Number 1, Houston will square off against number 9, East Carolina. Number 4, Cincinnati to meet number 5, Temple. Number 2, Memphis against number 7, UCF. And number 3, Tulane against number 6, Wichita State. I got Houston over East Carolina. I got Cincinnati over Temple. I got Memphis over UCF. And I'm going to call for an upset. I'm going to say Wichita State upsets Tulane in that quarterfinal game. I got that. And then I have Houston defeating Cincinnati barely in the semifinal. I think Memphis will get by Wichita State in the other semifinal, setting up a Houston-Memphis championship game on Sunday afternoon. But I got to go with Houston, the most complete team right now. I say Houston walks away with the American. MF, what says you?
About a week ago, Houston and Memphis went at it at the FedEx Forum, and it was a 5-star classic battle.
Oh.
Houston winning the game at the buzzer.
Ooh.
I think it's going to happen again.
Amen.
Houston will play Memphis. It'll be another 5-star. It'll be right down to the wire. But I think Houston's going to hold off Memphis again to win the American Athletic. And not only that, but will secure the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament when we get to Selection Sunday. So I got Houston winning. Bullock, it's yours.
Take it home, Bullock. Bullock, are you there? Oh, I think we might have lost him. So with that, that will put the bow on this edition of TXN Sports World. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. As always, we'll be back with you tomorrow night, 11 p.m. over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. As we will have Friday night SmackDown and AEW Rampage as always. And then Sunday night, 10:30, right here on the Tone 25. It will be our annual Selection Sunday special. We will not be doing the live show like we've been doing the last couple of years due to work commitments beyond MF's control, but that's fine. Go back to our roots, if you will. So 10:30 Sunday night, you know how we do it. The same way we've always done it. We give our regional predictions, and then we will ultimately predict who will ultimately cut down the nets on Monday night, April the 3rd at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. So that'll be on Sunday night, and then Monday night, immediately following Monday Night Raw at 11 p.m., Ridiculously Raw, we continue the road to WrestleMania 39. Well, actually, no, my apologies. Got a little ahead of myself again. Usually Monday night it's Ridiculously Raw, but this Monday night there will not be a Ridiculously Raw because, as you know, myself, MF, and Bullock will be heading to the AMP in Providence for Monday Night Raw on Monday night. So instead, on Tuesday night at 10:30, we will have a special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw. We'll review Monday Night Raw, and of course, my Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. Wednesday Night Madness, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher over on Braves Fan 95. With NXT and AEW Dynamite. And then 1 week from tonight, here on TXN Sports World, we will preview week 5 of the XFL, and we will have the start of our NCAA tournament coverage. And who knows, if it's necessary and it's warranted, we could have those 2 legendary words that all of you love so much, that being bonus commentary. So we'll wait and find out. But if anything else comes up, we will most certainly address it as well. So week 5 XFL preview and NCAA tournament coverage. So with perhaps bonus commentary if warranted. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, always and forever, Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching TXN Sports World right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.